Good morning. It's Monday. What day is today? Today is October 27th. And I would like to get in the habit of recording my to-dos for the week, because that's all part of getting back into a consistent writing habit, right? And of course, I sat down on my computer and I've been doing something else that's computer related. And that thing was waiting for me this morning. And I wasted like 30 minutes working on that. So it just goes back to showing like I really need my computer to be ready to go, no distractions, nothing getting in the way of sitting down and writing. And I did open my Word document and I've been going through some pieces there. And I'm also getting feedback from the developmental editor on Retreat Hell, my Grimswar book. And so far, things are coming back good. He's liking what I did. And I've been working on that book for a long time, put a lot of effort into creating the world, and I'm hoping from here on out it's going to get easier to write, because I think the hardest part of any series, and I've really struggled with this, is really building the framework. And once that's done, it's a lot easier to do stories within it. I just really hate it when I reach a point in my world building where I've like hit a mistake and then I have to go back and fix something, or there's just some basic premise that is wrong or doesn't make sense. And then that's a problem. It makes it really hard to go forward. Lyssa's Vengeance. I am so close to being done with this book. I just hit 85,000 words, which is a big milestone. If the book is going to be 100,000 words or 110,000 words, like I'm very close to being done with it. Right now I'm in the place where I'm just trying to wrap up all of the threads in a satisfying way. And I just wrote a scene with Kara where I brought a very important character back into her life. And that scene I felt really hit emotionally. I have got Rondo and Tim in the lab on the ocean floor of Europa and just wrote what I felt like was a super cool fight along the ocean floor there, but that required a lot of research into what things would really be like on the floor of Europa, which I'd initially done some research that was very wrong. I thought that based on the size of Europa, the pressure at its ocean floor would be much less than that on the Earth, which is not true. Apparently, it would be still very much like being at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, if not even more than that. So I had to change up a whole bunch of things I had done there, go back and fix a bunch of the details with that. I mean, I'm still trying to really shoot for rule of cool on this, and the idea of doing something on the ocean floor of Europa was something I've wanted to do for a long time, but it's still a very dark place. And so I also got to do some world building on what it would be like to seed life down there and what that might develop like and why we might do that. So that was a lot of fun, but now I'm in the place where I need to wrap up these threads and get the book to a satisfying conclusion. This is book 4 in the series, so we are basically setting up the entire chessboard we need to be at checkmate when this ends. And so very close to that happening. And I've only got 15,000 words to make that happen in. And I keep saying, 20,000 words, but I feel like it's stretching out. So this week, work-wise, today is actually my busiest day. And then after that, I should have time. I keep struggling with writing during my lunch break. This also gets to just eating right. I, work on a college campus. I have a cafeteria that's available to me that's inexpensive. I waste a lot of time at the cafeteria. Like, it's just nice to go sit down, hang out for a while, read, and I really should be using that lunch break time to also get some work done. So that's something I really am going to work on, developing that habit. Reading wise, I got sucked into, and I'm not sure even, I was watching a YouTube video about bunkers, and that got me thinking about the fact that I had not finished the Silo series. And so I got sucked into Shift, which is book 2 in Hugh Howey's Silo series. And I had never read Silo. We started watching the show on Apple, enjoyed it, and I've done this with a lot of series. Like I'll start watching the TV show, jump into the book, read the book, and then sort of lose interest in the TV show. And it's been long enough now that I've forgotten details, I guess, about Silo, the book, but I do remember that book had more reversals than I think any book I've ever read. Like without getting into spoilers, like you will think you know what's going to happen, and then something else happens, and then something else happens. And so, I would like to do a review of this, so I'm not going to get too deep into it. I haven't read a lot of things by Hugh Howey, so I have thoughts about these books that I want to put together, but that's yeah, I'll collect more of that in an actual review. Last week, I also did a phone interview with an advisor from Eastern Oregon University, talking about their MFA program, low residency, which is something I've been thinking about doing either between Oregon State University or Eastern. Eastern has a very cool, like basically they break up their low residency. So you do 10 days in July over in the Wallowas Mountains in northeastern Oregon. And that's an area that's kind of in the northeastern corner of the state, extends into southeastern Washington. It follows right along the Snake River. And I've been hunting over there a couple times, and it's beautiful. And so that would be cool. It also fits better with my schedule. Oregon State wants you to meet multiple times during the school year, and at least their initial time that they want you to meet is like right in one of my busiest times for work. So I don't know if that's going to work out. I actually don't know that it really matters that much between Oregon State and Eastern. I've got a buddy who's advising me that I need to send him an email and kind of talk about that, because it also sounded like Eastern doesn't do critique. Like you don't have to be in a critique group, which I've got a lot of experience with that. I don't want to act like I know everything, like even in going into this program, like I'm doing it because I want to learn. And there's always something more to learn. But if I can learn more things beyond doing critiques, that might be a better use of time. I don't know. So I'm going to continue that this week. I need to send my friend an email talking about that and getting his thoughts. And then I'm also, for both of these programs, no matter what I do, I'm going to have to write a personal statement talking about where I am as a writer, what my goals are, why I even want to do this. And that's something that is taking some time getting my thoughts together. In both of them, I'm going to have to submit, 15 to 20 pages. Oh no, only 15 to 20 pages, but of what I consider my best work. And that's actually a difficult thing to think about too. I don't know. I don't know right now what I consider my best work. I have a few things I'm really proud of, but I'm proud of a lot of stuff that I've written. So, and it's also science fiction. So I don't know if I need to tailor what I've written for this audience in that way. So I'm giving that more thought this week. But no, my main goal this week is to push ahead. I really want to get to like 95,000 to 100,000 words on Lyssa's Vengeance and just be very close to finishing this book out. Most of the time that I'm not writing, I'll probably be thinking about where I want the characters to be. I've been using Google's Notebook LM, which is a kind of like your own personal language model where you can upload, you give it sources and then you can ask questions about the sources. It's not a chatbot. Like you can ask it questions about the things that it's given. It's not necessarily going to extrapolate a whole lot from that. So you can't ask it general questions, but you could ask it, hey, tell me the amount of times this character did this, or tell me the last location of this character. Give me all the descriptions of this character. And so it's really useful for, I want to remember what color a character's eyes are, which is always a thing that bites you, right? And it's very good at that. It'll give you, and the good thing is it references all of the places where a thing was used. So you can click on the footnote and it'll take you right to the place in the text where that's located. And so that has been really useful for tying together. At this point, it's 10 books. And so making sure the continuity there is working is something that's been really helpful with. So I would recommend it for that. So that's my main goals this week. I want to really push through and get this done. As I've been getting feedback on Retreat Hell, like by next weekend, I need to be working on getting the summary ironed out for the next book, because I'm going to need to jump into that as soon as I get Lyssa's Vengeance done, because I would like to leapfrog these books and just get it done. I am going to finish the Aeon 14 series. That's something I've always wanted to do, and life just got in the way. So that's something that I'll be pushing ahead with. And we'll need to get that mapped out as well so that it can be done and wrapped up, at least for this portion of it. So that's this week. Those are things that are top of mind anyway. We're going into Halloween, so we're also finishing up costume things. I did some 3D printing for my daughter to make her a Rumi sword from K-pop Demon Hunters, and that came out kind of fun. And then I also 3D printed a friend a Mandalorian helmet, which is something I'd never done before. So that was also kind of fun to play with. And otherwise, yeah, life's just kicking on. I can't believe it's almost November already, which basically means, 2 months left in 2025 and we'll be moving on out. So the main project for me is just continuing this consistency, and these videos are part of that. So thanks for checking with me, and I'll update you on where I'm at. I'm being a little optimistic. I'm at 84,441 words on the current project. So I'll update with the next video on where I'm at. All right. Thanks for hanging out. If you've got some projects you're working on, let me know. I'd love to hear what you're working on this week. And then, yeah, if I don't get it next time, hold me accountable. All right. I'll talk to you later.